Hello guys, today in this video, we are going to help you to find out the best bike pumps in market. I made this list based on my personal opinion and I tried to list them based on their quality, durability, customer review and more. If you want to see their price and find out more information about them, you can check our links in the description below. Number 10. Lifeline Motion Floor Mount Mini Pump. Similar to the Topeak Mini Morph G Mini Pump, this mini pump from Lifeline falls in the middle ground between mini and floor pump. Too long to fit in your jersey, the frame-mounted bike pump comes with a fold-out foot peg and handle allowing for a vertical stroke, which should make it easier, like with the Topeak, to reach higher tire pressures. With no gauge, an exact PSI will be tricky to reach, but if you are in tune with your own tire squish readings, then it's a great option for anyone on a budget. The frame-mounted aspect will mean possible bottle cage loss, or replacement with a side-opening version, but it's potentially another great bike pump option for riders who need to ensure they are able to reach high volumes while out on the road or trails. Number 9. iPump Twist Mini Pump. Technically we wouldn't really include a product that hadn't hit high scores on test, but the iPump Twist Mini Pump will appeal to a lot of riders, so it's good to know what you're getting in the claimed world's lightest bike air pump and where you'll have to decide if the performance compromises are worth it. Tipping the scales at just 25 G, it really will be hard to beat the barely there mini bike pump on weight. Even the best CO2 inflators will struggle to beat this flyweight, and of course, it's arguably more environmentally friendly in that it's reusable. A thin, presta-only hose is pulled out of the handle when it comes time to put it to use, which does increase the usability of the full carbon fiber pump, and helps to keep that weight to the same as most energy gels. On test however, we found 200 strokes only got us to 60 psi, but this alone took quite a lot of effort, and the body of the pump became quite hot. It's a mixed review, but if you're just looking for an emergency option and saving weight and space are your priorities, and truth be told you're just showing willing that you do carry a pump, but know that you'll borrow the bigger and heavier option that your cycling mate always carries, then it might suit you just fine. Number 8. Topeak Race Rocket MT. This pump is a great tool for riders who typically rely on CO2 cartridges but also like to have manual insurance. It's small enough that it didn't dominate our bike when using the bottle cage clip, and it can also fit securely in a jersey pocket. It's even powerful enough to get fat tires back up to pressure after a blowout, even if it does take more pumping than a larger dual-action pump like the Topeak Mountain DAG Mini. But at 125 grams, it's much lighter. Its best feature is a long rubber hose that lives inside the pump when not in use and works with both Schrader and Presta valves. That flexible hose makes the Race Rocket MT much easier to pump vigorously without fear of damaging the valve stem than pumps without a rubber hose. The only drawback is that it's not a dual-action pump, meaning it pushes air into the tire only when depressing the plunger. But it's light and reliable, so whether we were micro-adjusting tire pressure mid-ride or relying on it as a backup plan for when our CO2 was spent, this pump never let us down. Number 7. Silca Tatico Bluetooth. Not content to just turn out beautiful, exquisitely detailed, and gloriously over-the-top pumps, Silca can now claim to make one of the smartest pumps on the market. This Tatico mini pump has a highly accurate electronic pressure sensor and a Bluetooth radio that lets the pump pair to the iGauge smartphone app, which displays pressure in huge, easy-to-read numbers. The locking, lossless air chuck is connected to a flexible hose that stores inside the pump when not in use. As soon as the pressure sensor detects a few psi, it wakes the Bluetooth up and automatically pairs the iGauge app. The 9.5-inch pump is rated up to 120 psi. Number 6. Topeak Mountain DAG Mini. This pump won our testing. It's noticeably larger than the rest of the minis on this list, but it really works. Despite being best suited for high-volume tires, it also does a solid job getting road tires back to serviceable riding pressure. And since it's a dual-stroke type, it inflates tires extremely fast. Also, it has a built-in gauge, so we were never left wondering just how much air we had managed to cram back into our tire. For both flat repair and, oh damn, I left my floor pump at home moments, the Mountain DAG is a lifesaver. Number 5. Specialized Air Tool MTB. This high-volume pump is, as the name suggests, made specifically for filling mountain bike tires. The 3-inch gauge goes up to only 40 psi, with big, easy-to-read markings in 1-pound increments. Of all the pumps on this list, this one has the gauge that's the easiest to use for setting a precise tire pressure. The stable metal base is the same as the Air Tool and Air Tool Comp V2. Like those pumps, the Air Tool MTB also has a metal barrel, although it's much larger in diameter to move a higher volume of air with each stroke. And move a lot of air it does. It took us only 20 strokes to fill a 29x 2.6-inch tire to 20 psi. The plastic handle and loose-fitting plunger give the feel of a discount product. But testing confirmed that this pump's gauge is accurate at all points, and we consistently reach for the Air Tool when filling mountain bike tires. We wished for only one thing, a release valve to let out the pressure. Though it may seem minor, it's incredibly useful when you're trying to hit 17 psi and you accidentally overfill. Number 4. Bontrager TLR Flash Charger Floor Pump. The TLR Flash Charger is a good alternative to an air compressor when it comes to installing tubeless tires. The large vertical tank can be pressurized to 160 psi, the maximum pressure read by the digital gauge. To install tubeless tires, place the nozzle on the valve, and when the tank is pressurized, flip the release lever from charge to inflate. Opening and closing that lever isn't a binary choice. You can modulate the pressure as it's released. When installing a mountain bike tire, we were nervous to blast in 160 pounds at one shot, but found it very handy to let air in small bursts, giving the tire time to settle. The TLR Flash Charger also works well as a traditional high-pressure pump. The digital gauge is, according to our testing, accurate up to 100 psi, which is the maximum pressure our testing device measures, and that gauge measures pressure in 1/10 increments. The pump is a little big and unwieldy to throw into the back of a car, but it's a great tool for the home workshop. Number 3. Lezyne Carbon Drive Light Mini Pump. The Lezyne Carbon Drive Light Mini Pump is the perfect cycling accessory for anyone wanting to balance the need of carrying an effective pump without a weight penalty. Capable of both Presta and Schrader valves, this lightweight carbon bike mini pump comes with a hose extension stored in the barrel to give a slight distance between the wheel and pump for ease of use. At 17 centimeters long, it's shorter than others, such as the Lifeline Performance Road Mini Pump, but on test we found that it took 200 strokes to go from flat to 100 psi, which is far better than most of a similar size. The downside is that in order to reach such a high psi, the pump does become uncomfortable to hold, and it is pretty awkward to attach to the valve in the first place. Should you overpump, there's a pressure relief button that allows you to let some air out. This tiny pump is small enough to slot into a pocket, but also comes with a mount that can be attached to a bottle cage. It's not the cheapest bike pump by any stretch, but if you're wanting functions and performance as well, this is one of the best mini bike pumps out there. Number 2. Specialized Air Tool Comp V2. Specialized already makes a very good floor pump, but now it offers one of the smartest too. The Air Tool Comp V2 has a dual range pressure gauge. Half of the gauge is for low pressures and runs from 0 to 30 psi in 1 psi gradients, while the other half is for high pressure tires and runs from 30 to 120 psi in 2 psi gradients. That means it's easy to read for almost any tire without the hassle of a digital gauge and batteries. It also means a cleaner workshop. One pump can replace a mountain bike pump with a low pressure gauge and a road bike pump with high pressure gauge. However, the gauge leaves something to be desired when it comes to accuracy. Our testing found that it reads 2 psi low for pressures up to 30 psi, then reads between 4 and 5 psi low from 35 up to 100. However, the variations are consistent and repeatable, meaning the Air Tool Comp will inflate your tire the same way every time. Although we also wish the pump head had a bleed valve, we still use it regularly and appreciate its versatility across a wide range of tire sizes and widths. Number 1. Vibrelli Bike Floor Pump. At 2 feet tall, the Vibrelli is a few inches shorter than the average floor pump, making it a more convenient travel companion. We found it easy to jigsaw into a trunk already overcrowded with bikes and gear. And since it's so light, it won't push your checked baggage over the airline's weight limit. Our testing found that the gauge was accurate up to 100 psi, although the graduations on the dial go all the way up to 160 psi. This pump is best for road and thin gravel tires. Although you can fill fat tires with the Vibrelli, it's not a high-volume pump, so you'll get a tricep workout filling mountain bike tires. Although the shaft is steel, the base and handle are plastic. That's not a deal breaker, but it means the pump isn't as robust as the more expensive ones on this list. But at this price, it's a great value.